Cruella is a Disney live-action movie based on the 101 Dalmatian films, directed by Craig Gillespie and stars both Emma Stone and Emma Thompson. And this movie is the origin story of the evil character Cruella de Vil. So as mentioned, Cruella is a Disney live-action film, but this is not a remake. It is based on a character from an old Disney classic, 101 Dalmatians, and it takes that character and forms this movie into a reboot slash prequel. I wasn't totally sure how to feel about Emma Stone before seeing Cruella as Cruella de Vil, because Cruella de Vil is an absolute menace. She is one of the most evil people in cinema history. Her entire character is based off of killing innocent little puppies for their fur. She is completely insane. Meanwhile, based on all of her roles, Emma Stone comes off as very bubbly. She is an extremely lovable person in every single movie she's been in. I can't see any kind of hatred or anger coming out of somebody like Emma Stone. But the reality of the situation is Emma Stone was the perfect choice to play Cruella de Vil in this movie, because herself and her co-star Emma Thompson equally knock it out of the park in Cruella. These two put on a show. They are such a pleasant watch from beginning to end in this movie. They are the entirety of this thing. Without them, this movie would have been nothing. These performances are out of this world, so darn good. Around 75% of the movie focuses on the back and forth between both Thompson and Stone and their rivalry. And whenever these two are battling it out on screen to see who will come on top as fashion queen, it is such a pleasant watch. I could not believe that these two put on such an entertaining show from beginning to end. It's almost as if these two were fighting to the death to see who can be the bigger narcissist. When looking at the movie structure, it's nice that there's no simple formula, and the first hour is definitely my favorite. There are some really good scenes in the first hour. We see pieces of Cruella's childhood, as well as how she got into the fashion industry, and we see plenty of scenes between her and her two best friends in the film as they get into tons of mischief. So between the excellent pacing of the first hour along with the back and forth between Thompson and Stone, this movie absolutely entertained me for a good portion of it. The character progression of Cruella was also very interesting to see on screen. Before seeing the movie, that might have been the most intriguing aspect of Cruella, because Cruella de Vil is one of the most despicable, insane, malicious, hateful people on the face of the planet. So to see a character who at first is really nice and somewhat likable, even though she does some really bad things, and for her to turn into somebody who's as evil as she is in a movie like 101 Dalmatians, that's really intriguing to me. I love character progression in films. Developing your characters is always a good thing. And I don't know how it happened, but somehow, some way, the movie surprisingly pulled off a twist that worked, and I did not see it coming from a mile away. I have to give the movie some credit for pulling that off. Before seeing the movie, I did not expect any twists, and while watching it, I was pleasantly surprised. They caught me off guard, and when you can do that, that's always a good thing too. But you know what else surprised me? The movie's runtime. I went into that theater thinking it would be in the ballpark of, I don't know, maybe an hour 45. However, the runtime of this movie is over 2 hours and 10 minutes. Yeah, for a Cruella de Vil movie, it almost reaches 2 hours and 20 minutes, which is completely unnecessary. This movie could have been trimmed down. It was a bit too long for my liking. If they shaved off a good 15 to 30 minutes of this movie, it would have been better. And something else that came to mind is that, do I totally buy this version of Cruella de Vil, a character that is so awful that you could never imagine in a million years her having any redeeming qualities? This is a Disney movie though, and the central character of Cruella is of course Cruella de Vil, and therefore it is the main job of the movie to make her a little bit likable. So part of the movie wants the audience to grasp the idea that Cruella does have a heart, and I just find that a little bit hard to buy after what we saw in the 101 Dalmatians films. She is such an awful person. She, like I said, wanted to kill innocent little puppies. She is ruthless in those movies. So by toning down her character in this movie compared to what we saw from Glenn Close as this character in the 101 Dalmatians live action remake, does make me think that this might not totally be the right way of doing a Cruella de Vil character in this film in particular. It's weird too, for a PG-13 movie, you would think that this one would push the envelope a little bit more, show us how evil Cruella de Vil actually is, but instead, we get a little bit of a nicer version of Cruella in this version, whereas the G-rated movie 101 Dalmatians from 1996 has a far more evil version of Cruella. Either way, I thought that Cruella was a solid watch. I enjoyed this movie, especially when we had both Emma Stone and Emma Thompson on the screen going at it with each other. And if you love some classic rock tunes, you might find a ton of enjoyment with this one. So I'm giving Cruella a 69%. Alright, for those of you who also happen to see Cruella, be sure to let me down below in the comment section what your thoughts are of it. And of course, as always guys, if you are new to my channel, click the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.